Hello, everyone. Welcome to Upepo Voices, where stories breathe and voices matter. My name is Wainaina. I am your host today, and we are joined with a very lovely guest. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much, Claire and Elizabeth. Yes, my name is Paul Aderoju, and I work as a solutions engineer and also as a cloud engineer. So I have a background in healthcare actually. So I transitioned from healthcare to tech. So and I have a passion for creating AI systems and machine learning systems that basically help hospitals and healthcare professionals read um, document their processes and to make their patients care better. So that's what I do. I create systems for hospitals and for healthcare professionals that can help them take advantage of artificial intelligence and machine learning to work on their documentation processes and also to optimize patients' care. And
Okay,
it's nice to be here.
you're very welcome. Let's give people a bit of context. Would you walk us through how you arrived to what you're doing right now?
Yes, definitely. All
Mm-hmm.
right, so yeah, so I have a degree, I have a bachelor's in dental surgery
Yeah.
from the University of Lagos. So I studied
Mm-hmm.
dentistry and dental surgery for my undergraduate degree. But
Mm-hmm.
however, in the journey, in the process, while I was in medical school,
Mm-hmm.
I got into tech when I was in my fourth year, and that
Mm-hmm.
was due to an influence from my elder brother. So my elder brother at that point was studying mechanical engineering. So at
Okay.
some point, I had access to his computer system, and then
Mm-hmm.
I saw some textbook on Python programming language, and I was a bit intrigued. Oh, I was like, okay, yeah, I understand some of these things because I mean, I did basic computer studies when I was in secondary school, and I was like, oh, I can see this as a tool that I can use, to solve problems. And I was able
Yeah.
to, from then, I was able to create a simple script that was able to analyze the readings, blood pressure readings, and then create like a chart from that. I mean, that was something I was using Microsoft Excel to do, but then I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I can actually automate this and use the scripts to do that. And that was how I would say my journey in tech started. From there, I took a diploma in cloud
Mm-hmm.
engineering from All School Africa, and I
Mm-hmm.
completed a diploma where I was able to learn software engineering and cloud computing. And from there, I was also able to work on real life projects to
Yeah.
further myself. I worked, so it was like we're a community essentially, guys
Mm-hmm.
from different backgrounds. Some of them were already technical based on the fact that they were already studying something like computer science or
Mm-hmm.
computer engineering as their undergraduate studies. But some of us also were coming from non-technical backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
But we're able to form a very close-knit community where we
Mm-hmm.
worked on several projects and we learned together. And that kind of exposure, or that kind of exposure really let me see out there the possibilities
Yeah.
out there in the tech world and also working in an interdisciplinary team. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think what really awed me then was the fact that people came from different backgrounds and they were able to share, different ideas because
Yeah.
people have different ways of thinking and really helped me, to see and understand how different people perceive problems, right? From even
Yeah.
perception of problem. Because at the end of the day, we are trying
Mm-hmm.
to solve a problem. I mean, this
Mm-hmm.
at the end, it's your tech tools, right? They are a means to an end. The end goal is to solve a problem, to provide a solution, to make someone's life easier, right?
Yeah.
So, and that kind of setting really put things in perspective for me, and I'm really grateful for that. So over time, when I was done with school,
Mm-hmm.
before I was done with school, anyways, I already started getting some jobs. I worked
Mm-hmm.
with an American startup, which
Mm-hmm.
coincidentally was called Dental Find. So it was founded by a Nigerian actually, but she lives in the US. So what she was trying to do was to democratize access to dentistry or to dental care
Mm-hmm.
because in somewhere like the US, dental care is quite expensive, right?
Yeah.
So and a lot of people here, so they don't know. So some people they're on a budget, right? But and
Yeah.
are trying to know that yeah, with this particular budget that I have, what is the
Mm-hmm.
best dental care I can get with this budget? So what we created then was a web application that did that democratizing access. So you're able to get dental clinics or dental hospitals or dental offices based
Mm-hmm.
on your preferences, such as location, your
Mm-hmm.
budgets, and the kind of procedures that you need to do. So I worked in that team with some other developers and researchers. So that kind of exposure also helped me because I was a dental student. So I
Yeah.
understood some of the key or the core concepts or the
Mm-hmm.
semantics about that profession. And then my engineering side also helped me understand how I could basically translate
Mm-hmm.
should I say the problem? Yes, the problem, how it could envision a solution. Right. So we're
Yeah.
able to build something up which is doing quite well now. I know we got access to some funding from some startups and we're able to really expand right
Mm-hmm.
across multiple states in the US. So that kind of because that was like an internship period for me. So that exposure also really helped me because I also worked in a team. As I said again, I had
Mm-hmm.
different people on the team. There were some other Nigerians, some Americans, some Indians on the team, and we were able to build something functional, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
over time, I was also able to work in multiple teams before my current role now where I work as a solutions engineer. So that's kind of like my background story in tech.
That's very, very comprehensive. Thank you very much for that answer. I'm a bit curious. Did you get to practice your dentistry at all?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely got to. So in Nigeria where I am, so after completing your studies, right, your undergraduate studies, getting
Mm-hmm.
your bachelor's, you have to
Mm-hmm.
do a one year compulsory program called the housemanship. So it's kind of
Okay.
like an internship program, yeah. So where you get to, work in a hospital setting under
Mm-hmm.
supervision
Mm-hmm.
from consultants and yeah, senior doctors. So I had to do that because I had to do that to get my permanent license. So yeah, I practice dentistry. I actually still
Mm-hmm.
still practice dentistry, at times because I have colleagues that have hospitals or dental clinics, and once in a while
Yeah.
I go around to help them here because I mean I'm still a big green. I got my
Mm-hmm.
degree some years ago, so I still practice, yeah. But I'm mostly working on the technical side, yeah.
Okay. And what would you say led you to dentistry? Is it something that you wanted to do as a child, or how did that come about?
Yes, definitely something what I wanted to do as a child. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, so my mom is a nurse. So I
Okay.
kind of grew up the hospital setting, like yeah. So growing up, I was in the hospital setting, like very familiar with the setting. But
Mm-hmm.
so I had a dental appointment, right? But okay, I
Yeah.
was not the one that was being treated. It was actually my cousin, right? When I was younger, but I
Mm-hmm.
followed her to the clinic. So
Mm-hmm.
I was quite intrigued, because seeing the instruments that were
Yeah.
being used and stuff like that, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I would really
Mm-hmm.
like to do stuff like this because I mean she was in pain, so she went for a tooth extraction. So the
Yeah.
night before she had a swelling in her jaw. She was in lots of pain. She could not sleep. She was crying. So the next morning we had
Mm-hmm.
to yeah go visit the dentist. And under 10-15 minutes she came out smiling. I was like, what just happened here? You
Mm-hmm.
didn't sleep at night, you were crying. And I mean, I was just intrigued. I saw some of the instruments, and I mean, I spoke with the dentist and I was like, yeah, dentistry is
Mm-hmm.
it's a cool course. You get to help people, right? You get to do
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, me growing up around in the hospital settings was just like, okay, yeah, this stuff I can do. So going into the university, I had just had dentistry in mind, and I definitely enjoyed my undergraduate studies. I enjoyed my program, very interesting. I worked with
Mm-hmm.
lots of patients. I saw patients. I
Mm-hmm.
worked in a team of other
Mm-hmm.
dental, because then I was a dental students, other dental students, in my consultants and the registrars and other healthcare professionals like dental
Yeah.
nurses and
Mm-hmm.
therapists. So yeah, so I would say yeah, working in I'll say teams. That's kind of something that I've been doing even when I
Okay.
was a student. Yeah.
Okay. Now moving on to today's theme, which is building with and for people, and basically seeing the human behind the system. What do you understand by that theme?
Okay. Yes. So building with and for people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
human behind the system. I mean, when
Yeah.
I saw the theme, yeah, definitely something that is central to
Mm-hmm.
anything that we do, right? Is understanding people, right? All
Yeah.
our technology today exists because someone somewhere thought of an easier way to do
Mm-hmm.
things, to make life, easier for someone, a faster way to accomplish something. That's why technology exists today, right? But before you
Yeah.
can build tools or systems, you need to understand your people, right? The people
Yeah.
you are building for. So you need to understand them from different perspectives, really. And so before understanding them, that means you would have communicated with them, definitely. So communication can be, you would had conversations with them, or understand their context, where they're coming from, what kind of problems of challenges that they are faced with, right? And what they think is a possible solution to that problem, right? Because that's important. That's you as someone who builds things, rather maybe as someone who builds teams or builds products or solutions, you need to
Yeah.
have a very comprehensive understanding of what the problem is like for the person who has a problem. You're trying to solve a problem. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
say in healthcare documentation, right, for doctors or for other healthcare professionals, you want to maybe expedite the process of documentation for them. So you aren't just going to sit down on your laptop or your computer and build an app and say, yeah, take this app, use it to document. No, you need to understand from their perspective what
Yeah.
their problem is, because at the end, so that you don't do something that is not useful for them. And that
Yeah.
happens quite a number of times, right? So understanding people, yes, is central to understanding their problem. Right. So that's how I see things. Before you can understand the problem, like, or rather, while trying to understand the problem, you also have to understand the people behind the problem,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's the way I see. Yeah, that's the way I understand this thing.
And do you consider yourself a builder?
Oh yes. So I
Mm-hmm.
consider myself a builder, yes. And the reason why I say this is because of the fact that definitely something that I really learned when I was so the exposure that I had from the boot camps and from the diplomas I did in
Mm-hmm.
OFCO Africa and also in ALX, right,
Yeah.
is knowing that you have to challenge yourself, right, to build
Mm-hmm.
new things, right?
Yeah.
When you identify a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you identify a problem, whether for a group of people of a particular profession or for a particular field, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can ideate that, okay, I have this particular idea that can solve this problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't build it out, right, you don't know
Mm-hmm.
how I put, like, you don't know, maybe your idea can be the next big thing in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, looking at technologies such as, I mean, let's use electricity now.
Yeah.
um the person who discovered electricity, right?
Yeah.
If I mean, if they at the end of the day they said, okay, no, I wasn't going to do stuff like this. I just want
Mm-hmm.
to we'll continue using our lamps. I mean,
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, someone else would have done it. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at the, should I say, centuries or decades that would have passed, that people would have been affected, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I build because I love challenges. I build because I love challenges, and I love solving problems and I love challenges. So I consider myself a builder, definitely. I've built things in the past and I'm still building things, and I hope to build more in the future.
Mm-hmm. And how do you relate with people in general?
Yes, I my relationship with people, definitely, I tend to firstly be part of communities, right? Because
Okay.
I myself am a product of several communities, right?
Yeah.
So communities are very, very important, right? So I tend to find people who probably think in the same, I mean, not necessarily in the same way that I do, but at least have a shared goal or a
Mm-hmm.
vision, right? So
Yeah.
when for instance, if I want to learn something new, say today now, maybe I want to learn okay, say I'm new to machine learning, right? And I want to learn
Yeah.
machine learning, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I can just go on Udemy or on Coursera and take a
Mm-hmm.
course in machine learning, and I'm like, okay, I'm fine. But me,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I do. I do that as part of one of the things. I also go online. I look for
Mm-hmm.
people that are doing these things already, or communities that
Mm-hmm.
are available, and I try to interact with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I try, so that's like, so try to interact with them. Oh, from your perspective, you're into this particular field, you're into machine learning. Okay,
Yeah.
how has it been? Can you tell me? Can you explain some things? What do I need to know? What are the things I need to look out for? And trust me, people are usually very open. They're usually very excited when people come to them like that. I say, okay, yeah, these are
Yeah.
the kind of mistakes you need to avoid. These are the things you need to learn. These are the things you need to learn at first to
Mm-hmm.
have a good understanding. So yes, in general, I relate to people, quite easily. As I said, I look for communities of people that have like a shared goal, a shared
Mm-hmm.
mission, yes, in mind, and I interact with them, right? Seeing how they approach their own problems and challenges too. Yeah.
And in your own life outside of the technical framework, what is one thing that you have built that you are absolutely proud of at the moment?
Okay, outside of the technical framework, so that's like you're talking of maybe outside of maybe corporate teams, like like a
Yeah.
company, all right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I've been part of communities, and I've also built communities. So when I was a student in university, I was one of the um I was an AWS Cloud Club captain at the
Mm-hmm.
University of Lagos. So yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
basically I was the pioneer captain. I was a co-captain actually. I had a co-captain called Emmanuel. And
Mm-hmm.
so yes, AWS then released the Cloud Clubs as a new program, trying to reach
Mm-hmm.
out to university students really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making students upskill themselves, right? Even as students gaining core technical skills that
Yeah.
can land them, yes, that can land them, opportunities and jobs and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
we were tasked with creating a community, right? So, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say that was in 2020, 2023, and we had to
Mm-hmm.
build this thing from scratch, right? All from
Yeah.
scratch. So we went about, holding seminars, webinars, programs, introducing people to AWS. We ran boot camps. All of this was for free, right? We're students, but
Mm-hmm.
we had to find time for this. I know that today now we have over 500 registered Cloud Club members and University of Lagos. And it's something that
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, very proud of because from this
Mm-hmm.
particular club that we started, some people
Mm-hmm.
have gone from there to get jobs, international jobs from corporate organizations working as cloud engineers, solutions
Mm-hmm.
architects, and these were people that had no skill at the beginning. Some of them even got we were able to get some of them vouchers to write some certifications, take
Mm-hmm.
some professional exams, and this was something this is something that I'm really proud of. I'm really
Mm-hmm.
proud that we started because even now I'm out of school,
Yeah.
the organization is still thriving, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
working. They still hold the seminars, the webinars, the boot camps, the programs. They still
Mm-hmm.
do them, and people still get, people still gain from this kind of thing. So I'm really
Yeah.
proud of that.
That's extremely amazing. And is it open to other universities, or is the program only limited to the University of Lagos?
Okay, yeah. So our the programs we organized are primarily for University of Lagos students, but
Okay.
we also had other people joining. So we
Mm-hmm.
weren't discriminating, so other people can join. But
Mm-hmm.
also, if you're a student in a university, you can
Mm-hmm.
also apply to AWS directly to start
Oh.
a cloud club. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very possible. So there were some students that were attending from other universities, and we're like, oh, where are you
Mm-hmm.
attending from? Some sense also they were attending from maybe University of Abuja or some other university. We're like, oh, that's great. And we can
Mm-hmm.
also assist you guys in starting something like this similar in your school. And a lot of them were open. So we put them through the application process, what they need
Mm-hmm.
to know. And a lot of them had the opportunity to apply and they also got the approval to start their clubs. So yeah, so we didn't make it,
Yeah.
although it's primarily for students of the University of Lagos, we also have
Mm-hmm.
outsiders that join our programs. And even me, I've joined
Mm-hmm.
other programs in other institutions, either
Yeah.
maybe just to join a program because I want to learn something or as a speaker. So that's
Mm-hmm.
happened also.
So coming back to the corporate space, how would you personally define empathy within a technical environment?
Okay. Defining empathy between technical environments. Well, firstly, something that I try to is basically I try to understand that in a team, right, in the corporate space, a technical team. Firstly,
Mm-hmm.
everybody we're coming from different backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has a different backgrounds. People have maybe they have worked in a particular type of environments
Mm-hmm.
prior to now. They are coming with some knowledge or some information that they have, or maybe like a particular culture
Mm-hmm.
like the way to do things. So everybody's coming and we are trying to, we're in a particular or a new system, a new corporate space. So,
Mm-hmm.
instead of firstly, so definitely we're going to have like conversations, discussions. Maybe we need to agree on some certain things. So
Mm-hmm.
I try not to definitely first I try not to impose my own ideas on other people. No, I don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, I try to understand people in terms of context. Okay, from where you're coming
Mm-hmm.
from, can you explain what you mean by so and so maybe for some certain things? So
Yeah.
empathizing in that space is basically putting yourself, or maybe not putting yourself in that position, but trying to understand where they are coming from not trying to
Mhm.
dismiss everyone's idea and imposing, oh yeah, you have to work my idea, because from my experience,
Mhm.
you get to learn a lot, right, from other people, right? When
Yeah.
you are open-minded. So I approach this kind of environment with a very, very open mind, right?
Mhm.
I have my contributions, but I also understand that other people, they have their own contributions too. So yeah, the
Mhm.
empathy in this sense is understanding people's background, giving
Mhm.
them, I would say, giving them the chance, the
Mhm.
opportunity to speak and contribute, even
Yeah.
if they, I mean, they're like absolute beginners, or maybe they're new to the team, right?
Yeah.
Some of them they might have ideas. Maybe they don't know how to explain their ideas in a technical way, or they don't know how to execute their ideas. I'll give you
Mhm.
an instance. In the place where I work now, right? So
Mhm.
there was a time we had an intern. So we is a, I mean, is an intern. So he's studying computer science at
Mhm.
Lagos State University, right? So,
Yeah.
and he came into one of our programs, and he expressed interest in being an intern, right? So when he came into the team,
Mhm.
so before now he was just a backend developer, right?
Mhm.
And he was quite good at that, but
Mhm.
he didn't really understand cloud engineering or solutions architecting, stuff
Mhm.
like that. So, but he came into the team, and I had, he joined our team meetings. I had several conversations with him, and I realized that this is actually a
Mhm.
very brilliant person. He has very creative ideas, right?
Yeah.
So now, what I did for him, right, to make him, um, because definitely when he came in, he was a bit shy. He wasn't very comfortable sharing his ideas because he had other senior engineers in the team. These are guys that were already
Yeah.
working like 5 to 10 years, easily in
Mhm.
the space. So they had the experience, they had the skill, they had the knowledge. So he was a
Mhm.
bit shy to contribute. But because I was a part of the team, and luckily enough, I was kind of I was close to management at that point. So I
Mhm.
ensured that I gave him an opportunity to speak, right, to
Yeah.
share his ideas, right. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, what did that lead to? One of the products that we built was something that was built from one of his ideas, and it's doing well now, right? So
Okay.
in that kind of setting now, if I didn't give him, if I didn't give him the opportunity to express himself, even in the midst of, maybe like the more senior engineers, that kind of
Mhm.
thing would not have happened. Yeah. So I empathize
Yeah.
with people in the sense that I give them, yes, give them the opportunity to collaborate and to contribute. Even
Mhm.
in any room they are, yes, you can speak for yourself. You
Yeah.
have an idea, you need to shy away, yes. The ground is
Mhm.
open for you. You can contribute. Yes.
And do you remember the first time someone took a chance on you?
Definitely, I remember. Trust me. I think I'm
Mhm.
one of the, and I'll cite Dental Fund. So that was the startup I talked about that I interned in as a student. So
Yeah.
it was so random because
Mhm.
this person got across to me on LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
So prior to that time, I mean, I had the type of projects I'd worked on were usually personal projects, right? That I worked on, right? Just
Mhm.
personal projects that I put there in my portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And I just on a random Sunday, yes, I can remember it was very early on Sunday, random
Mhm.
Sunday morning, like around 3 a.m. I think I was working on my system, and I
Mhm.
saw a message popping on LinkedIn. So I earlier sent her a connection request because I saw
Mhm.
that she was building something in the dental space in the US. I was like, oh, I
Yeah.
just sent her a connection request as, like just like, oh, let me just connect with you, stuff like that. And then I didn't even
Mhm.
send her a message. She sent me a message and I was like, oh, I see that
Mhm.
you're a dental student and you're also technical, you have some skills. Are you available to have
Mhm.
a conversation? I said
Mhm.
yes. So and in the conversations we had, it became clear that although I had some skills,
Yeah.
I didn't also do a lot of things. It became very clear, even to me. I
Mhm.
knew that yes, there are a lot of things I did not know, but she said, no problem. I'm going to have you join my team as an intern. So you're going to be working alongside other engineers who are, more
Mhm.
senior to you, right? And I was able to, and I worked with her for 3 months, right? And I
Mhm.
got the exposure. So to me, but she took a chance on with me because
Mhm.
she doesn't know me from anywhere. She just
Yeah.
saw a random dude on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, let me speak to you. And even
Mhm.
from the interview session I had, it was clear that although I had some skills, I did not have a lot of skills at that point. But
Yeah.
I was willing to learn. I expressed, willing that I'm willing to learn new things. And she took a
Mhm.
chance on me because I'm very sure that position I took, maybe like there's a hundred other people that could have gotten that position
Yeah.
based on merits, even not even like a chance based on merit that they probably already had those skills. But she took a chance on me, and I'm very happy that that happened. Yeah,
And how would you say that impacted you going forward?
definitely impacted me going forward because firstly, it boosted my confidence, right?
Mhm.
Working in that team, learned a lot of new things. And
Mhm.
then the I would say the experience that I gained also there, also
Mhm.
it was something that translated to me even
Mhm.
applying for jobs, right? Jobs
Yeah.
like, after working there, it became clear to me that,
Mhm.
I can really work anywhere as far as I'm willing to learn, as far as I have is some set of skills, and
Yeah.
the employer is willing to take a chance, or I'm willing to show that I can learn new stuff, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't, I can apply for jobs. It's allowed me, even the current job that I am doing at the moment.
Mhm.
Um, when I applied also, I would say, I mean, although I had some skills, there were some gaps also, but
Mhm.
the employer was willing to also take a risk, which I
Yeah.
think has been, yes, as it was a risk anyway, but it has been
Mhm.
fruitful because definitely I have contributed a lot in the organization where I work now, to the
Mhm.
extent that I'm even kind of like in management level,
Oh wow.
tech role, yeah, role already, yeah. So
Mhm.
I'm really happy about that. So I would say that particular experience
Mhm.
gave me a lot of confidence, right? Confidence to, to
Mhm.
speak to people, confidence
Yeah.
to speak in big rooms, yeah. Confidence
Mhm.
to speak in big rooms, to speak to, other founders, because I mean
Yeah.
she was a founder herself, so I had the
Mhm.
confidence to communicate, to speak with other founders, collaborate and
Mhm.
even network with new people. So yeah, that's how that particular experience affected me.
Now that you're in the tech space and you are a builder, we may call it
Yeah.
that, why do you think it's difficult for most builders to actually treat the tech space as fundamentally human?
Oh, okay, yeah, I think I understand this question.
Mhm.
Um, Again, I think it's a people problem in the sense that you
Mhm.
should approach um how will I put it? You should approach when you're approaching a problem, right? You need to
Mhm.
also in your team, you need to also approach it as looking at the people that are behind either the team or the problem. So I'm going to talk about a team and they're talking about a problem, right? So
Mhm.
when building, right, if you're a builder,
Mhm.
right, as I said earlier, it's good, yeah, you identify a problem. Anybody can really identify a problem. Once
Yeah.
you are a part of a system or you're a part of an industry, right, and you
Mhm.
work there for a while, or you don't even need to work there, or you observe them for a while,
Mhm.
you can easily, I mean, if you are quite observant, you can easily identify problems, or you can
Mhm.
identify opportunities where, okay, you feel technology, right,
Mhm.
can become a tool to solve a particular problem. But
Mhm.
now, even after identifying a problem,
Mhm.
it's kind of fundamental because to also talk to the people, right,
Yeah.
behind that are expressing this problem. Oh, I have experienced, or rather, I've observed that this
Mhm.
seems to be a problem because there was something that I learned very early on, that's something
Mhm.
that I perceive as a problem to me might not
Mhm.
necessarily be what is the problem to the people that are involved. It
Mhm.
might be part of the problem, but it might not be the main problem, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't talk to people, if you
Mhm.
don't talk to them, if you don't try to understand things from their own perspective, right,
Yeah.
you're going to build a miss. And then
Mhm.
now coming into teams, right? Okay, you're a
Mhm.
team of builders. Even
Mhm.
when building, also taking into cognizance that
Mhm.
as I said, people are coming from different backgrounds, they
Yeah.
have different ideologies, they have different they think in different ways, right?
Mhm.
Accommodating everyone such that everyone has I mean everyone has the, I would say, the freedom, right,
Mhm.
to express themselves, to say, okay, oh, I've been working on this kind of thing, right? This is
Mhm.
the this is the way you are proposing that I should do this. But I feel that from my own experience, this is
Yeah.
a better way of doing things, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you shouldn't dismiss those kind of people, right? You should investigate, talk to them. Oh, okay. How do you think we can
Mhm.
do it? Let's explore. Let's see your way of doing things. Is it
Mhm.
better? Does it make things faster, right? So because
Mhm.
that's the way you learn. So I usually encourage builders, right? As a builder, they are
Mhm.
building in the team, or even if they are building alone, you have to build with, if they are building for certain people, right? You have to build with them in your mind, right? When you're
Yeah.
building products or solutions, that you
Mhm.
ain't just trying to solve a problem, right? You have to build with the people that are trying to solve the solution for in your mind. They need to be part of the process. And
Yeah.
I mean, that can even be as I mean, definitely, even when you're trying to test, I mean, if you're building a particular solution now, you're going to
Mhm.
definitely need to run some tests on it, some alpha tests to see still like get some initial feedback, you're
Mm-hmm.
still going to have to work with these people, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, to your target users or your end users. So building
Yeah.
with them from the scratch is usually the best thing, because if you understand their problem very well, you make sure that you're not building a miss, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then taking this to your team now, if you're a team of builders, or rather you're a builder and you have a team of people, making sure that everybody is carried along, right, as they're building
Mm-hmm.
stuff, right? Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has the opportunity to contribute, right? You're not dismissing
Mm-hmm.
anybody's ideas or anybody's thought process, right? Allowing
Mm-hmm.
people the freedom to express the ideas out there to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in your career space, have you had an opportunity where you failed to listen to someone and it made the whole project fail?
Okay, sorry. Not necessarily, not necessarily, because as I said earlier, even before I started building things,
Mm-hmm.
I make sure I was a part of communities. So I've been part of things where I
Mm-hmm.
was not necessarily being a builder. I was just there observing, right? Or maybe
Oh, okay.
assisting.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and this was from early on. Like this was from when I was still like at the early stages, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I was already able to, learn a few things um building with about taking, everybody's ideas into cognizance when building,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're a team. So that kind of
Mm-hmm.
informed me in such a way that even while I was climbing up the career ladder, it's
Mm-hmm.
it was already part of me, right? So I don't think I necessarily had that kind of problem before. No,
So since you started building and until today, you haven't experienced any failure whatsoever.
I don't have experienced failures,
Mm-hmm.
but the failures I've experienced are not failures from not necessarily listening to people. No, they are
Okay.
failures. I mean, from other processes, different things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was a particular tool that I built, and definitely the feedback that we got, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
was a bit different than we anticipated, because I mean I was a co-founder on that, right? So we
Yeah.
built so we built something for a particular set of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they used it. So while some of them liked some of the functionalities,
Mm-hmm.
some others had some other reservations, and that was because of the fact that apparently what we had built, although it was very good for them, because
Mm-hmm.
we had spoken to them before we built it, realized
Mm-hmm.
that it was disrupting their existing process.
Okay.
And people don't like, so yeah, I mean that was a new thing that I learned, because people don't like, I mean, people have predefined processes already, like, oh, this is the
Mm-hmm.
process in my job, in my career, or what I do, this is the process that I have already.
Yeah.
So if you are building something for me and it's going to disrupt my existing process
Mm-hmm.
by lots, even if it's a good thing, I might not necessarily be predisposed to use it, right? So
Yeah.
so that actually failed. So it's
Mm-hmm.
used for a while. But after like a few months, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people had to revert back to the previous processes that they were using. So definitely to
Mm-hmm.
me that was a failure, right? And we were able
Mm-hmm.
to just, I mean, I was sad, but I just took that as feedback, right? That was a new thing that
Yeah.
I learned.
Mm-hmm.
Processes. People have predefined processes. So
Yeah.
apart from understanding the process, people, you also need to understand what processes they already have in place, so that
Mm-hmm.
when you are building something, it's either you augment that process, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
don't try to disrupt it. You just try to augment the process to make it
Yeah.
more efficient, not trying to
Mm-hmm.
disrupt it totally. So yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
definitely I've built stuff that has failed. Yeah, I mean, and I'm happy that I was even able. I feel it's a privilege that I was able to even get to the stage that it
Yeah.
failed, because a lot of ideas don't even get to the stage that are being used, or they even get to fail. So I feel
Yeah.
that was even a privilege, yeah, which I don't take for granted.
And how will you say you respond to such criticism in terms of feedback?
Yeah, early on, so I have learned to respond to criticism, in the best possible way, which is just it's feedback.
Mm-hmm.
People are
Mm-hmm.
criticizing you because although some people might not pass out the criticism in a good way,
Yeah.
right? So it might come in sounding harsh, but they're
Mm-hmm.
criticizing you because they feel that your whatever you have built, whatever products or service you have built, it can be better.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
Yeah.
that's the way I see it. So they're
Mm-hmm.
criticizing because they know, okay, this can be better, right? And which I
Mm-hmm.
feel it's also a privilege fact that someone has taken their time to maybe use your product or service and are saying, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
give you this feedback, right? Some people will just use it and they'll be like, okay, I don't like this. I'm not going to give it, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to leave. But the fact
Mhm.
that somebody has takes the time out, to give you a feedback, whether it's
Mhm.
positive, it's negative, or whether it's given in a way you don't like, you
Mhm.
at this point, no one really cares about your feelings, anyways. But
Yeah.
I take feedback, I go back to my drawing board. Okay, this person has said this. Where
Mhm.
exactly is the problem that was identified? How can I
Yeah.
make this better, right? And
Mhm.
so I just want to be like that.
Mhm.
I've been in this space for some time to know that feedback is feedback, right? Whether
Yeah.
it comes in a good way or in a bad way, whether it's from
Mhm.
your boss, your boss
Mhm.
is giving you feedback because they know this can be better, right?
Yeah.
I've built some internal solutions, and I mean, I got some feedback that was probably
Mhm.
not given in the best way possible, but I know that my boss is
Mhm.
giving me this feedback because they believe I can do something better, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a challenge for me. Okay, yes, I can definitely be better. I can do something better. So that's how I take feedback in a very
Mhm.
pragmatic way. Yeah.
Mhm. And when we talk about the human behind the system, are we referring to the developer, the end user, or the collaborative space between them?
Human behind the system spans across all of these things, all
Mhm.
of these things. So we're talking about your developers, your
Mhm.
end users, your team. It's everybody, right? It's
Mhm.
everybody.
Mhm.
And that's why, as a technical person, right? If you're as a
Mhm.
builder,
Yeah.
you need to be very conscious of this, right? When you're
Mhm.
building. So you need to be
Mhm.
very conscious of, firstly, your team. It's very, very important. Your team,
Yeah.
these are the people that are working on your solution with you. You need to be very
Mhm.
conscious of how they react to certain things, or especially if you're not privileged to be like a leader in the team, you need
Mhm.
to make sure that you use that position
Mhm.
to advance. I mean, I feel as a leader, you're serving people at the end. Like, you're a leader, but
Yeah.
leadership is about serving, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, you are felt as a leader if in your team
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
don't there is no freedom for expression of ideas. Firstly, people
Mhm.
don't have the ability to improve in your team. That's another failure, because
Mhm.
if you're leading people and they are not improving, you're not doing anything right. And then also,
Mhm.
as a leader, you need to be able to communicate your vision, right?
Yeah.
And in communicating your vision, you're going to have to talk to people, right? You're going to that's being people centered, right? Or people
Mhm.
centric. It's important from your
Mhm.
team and even to your end users, right? To your end users, in the sense that
Mhm.
building, right, and getting feedback from them from time to
Mhm.
time is very, very important, right? Because
Mhm.
your product or your solution is not going to improve if you don't work on the feedback that you have gotten on. You understand? I mean,
Yeah.
from the particular feedback that I was talking about, I
Mhm.
mean, we started getting feedback as early as like the second week people were using it, right? And
Mhm.
we're working on this feedback, but apparently we're not working, maybe we're not delivering the solution fast enough. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
And people still felt that, oh, this process is not still optimized, or this particular solution is
Mhm.
not still optimized for the pre-existing process that I had, right?
Mhm.
So I don't think exactly. So that ultimately, I mean, it didn't work out, but at least we were able to, we were able to take feedback from them, so at
Mhm.
least improve on it. So yeah, so as a builder, having people in building for people, right? Just
Mhm.
cross across, not just your team, but also for your end users, and also
Mhm.
your end users, your team, and even in like communities. I love talking about communities because it's very important. I myself, I volunteer a lot for lots of communities, both in the medical space and in the technical space.
Mhm.
So yeah, I love volunteering a lot, talking to
Mhm.
people, meeting new people, getting new ideas, right?
Mhm.
Understanding how people think. Yeah, I feel it's very important, because if you remove that the humanist aspect of it, like the people aspect of it, you're just building a miss, right?
Mhm.
You're building a miss. I feel you're building a miss here. So people are very central, and
Mhm.
very centric to whatever you're building. Yeah.
And what will you say active listening looks like when you are in the middle of a high pressure analysis survey
Okay,
or other
active
phase?
listening. Yeah, so your question is, what does active listening look like when you're in the middle of like a high pressure analytics environment, right?
Yeah.
So active listening, yeah, is you basically sitting down and just listening to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally. So as I've said before, I've been in teams like having like with 10 to 15 developers working
Mm-hmm.
on the same projects. Everybody has their own ideas, right? By the
Mm-hmm.
end, we all have the same mission, the same goal in mind. We're all trying to achieve something, right? So in that
Mm-hmm.
case, active listening is okay. I have an idea. I have laid
Mm-hmm.
it down. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
also going to sit down and
Yeah.
listen to every other person's idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? And say, okay, this person's idea compared with my idea, what are the, compare and contrasting, how
Mm-hmm.
is their own idea compared to mine? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and something I need to be also being very honest with yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
there are some ideas that would come from maybe your subordinates or
Mm-hmm.
someone that you are superior to, and you have to just ask, you just have to accept the fact that this is actually a much better idea than I have. So being
Mm-hmm.
humble enough to identify that, being humble enough to say, okay, yeah, yes, I think
Mm-hmm.
in this case your idea sounds better than my own. We'll go
Mm-hmm.
ahead with yours, we'll experiment with yours. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Active listening can also even be you trying to say, okay, we're listening to, okay, let's say we are in a team now, and then there are like 10 to 15 developers, as I said, and everybody has contributed. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you don't, and maybe because of the time frame, like you can only maybe work on say 2 or 3 different prototypes, right?
Yeah.
So you can, I mean, make it very democratic. Everybody has listened to everyone. Let's try and put a vote. Let's see how everyone feels about every other idea. Let's see the top 3 ideas that we can move ahead with, right? I've worked in teams where we had to do that because
Mm-hmm.
everybody's idea was so brilliant. But then
Yeah.
we just had to, we knew that we couldn't work on everybody's individual idea. So we made it
Yeah.
democratic. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we had like a criteria, which one is more feasible, or rather which is most feasible
Yeah.
given our current time frame, and
Mm-hmm.
is less expensive to execute, and some other criteria that we defined, and we voted, and we're able to sieve out all the ideas to the top 3, and then we're like, yeah, so this is what we're focusing on now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then everybody's happy because we know it was a democratic process, right? But there are
Mm-hmm.
sometimes maybe because of speed, right, or because
Mm-hmm.
of you are pressed for time, that you might just need to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Being the leader of the team, you just have to say, okay, we're just taking one idea and moving to it with it, and you have to make that decision. But in
Mm-hmm.
that kind of situation, you also need to acknowledge. So
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging other people's, idea, not just simply you acknowledge that, oh, this is a great idea. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably something we can work on in the future. But at this point, because of we are pressed for time, or because we
Mm-hmm.
need to have something in the next 2 weeks, we can't proceed
Mm-hmm.
with this, but it's something we can always revisit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's coming another form of active listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that building involves a lot of people's feedback, what measures are there to make sure that the quiet users or other people from the marginalized communities are actually listened to and considered in the design?
Okay, so when you say marginalized communities, are you talking about our end users?
By marginalized, I mean people who are not capable of giving feedback. For example, if you are to use an online platform, there are people who are not, um, who don't have the resources to respond to that. So how now do you make sure that their opinions are now considered during the designs?
Oh, okay. So I
Mhm,
think this speaks to the idea of inclusivity, right? And
mhm,
you, as a builder, you have to think about inclusivity right from the start, right?
mhm,
If you are building any product or service, right, and you know that there are some of your users that might not be able to get back to you, maybe
mhm.
due to the nature of they are being marginalized, right? Maybe they don't have access,
Yeah.
right? You need to take that challenge upon yourself to go meet them, right?
Oh, okay.
Wherever they are. So wherever they are, or whatever, in whatever, like you need to make an active effort, or
Mhm,
yes, you need to be intentional about also getting across to them to get their feedback, because their feedback is very, very important, right?
mhm,
Even in the, I mean, SDLC, the software development life cycle, right? When you
mhm,
are building a particular solution or a service or a product, right?
mhm.
At each point of the cycle, you need to get feedback.
Yeah.
It can be internal feedback, it can be external feedback. You need to get feedback because there's no way you're going to iterate on your process, on your solution to get it better if you don't
Mhm,
collect feedback. And even in collecting feedback, you need to be intentional and you need to make sure that you are reaching out to as many people as possible. So what we did then, even when I
mhm,
had built my application, right, was that at the end of the application basically was an application to assist mental health professionals, right,
Mm-hmm.
in documenting their sessions. So most
Okay.
lot of mental health, yes, a lot of mental therapy sessions are online now, right? Although some of them are
Mm-hmm.
physical, some of them are
Mm-hmm.
online now. So we understood that some of these professionals already had like platforms that they were used to, Microsoft Teams,
Mm-hmm.
Google Meets,
Yeah.
Zoom Meets, or some stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, so we built something that was entirely that was helping them basically like take notes during the sessions, right? So this
Yeah.
was something that so it had some machine learning and artificial intelligence in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but the feedback that we had was the fact that we saw that instead of trying to build our own platform from scratch, why don't
Mm-hmm.
we just build a plugin that would integrate with their existing um conferencing application? Do you understand? So that was like because at first we had built out a whole kind of video conferencing application right from start. So
Mm-hmm.
we saw that that was disrupting. Like nobody wants to have to sign up using a different video conferencing application or a different meeting application. So that
Yeah.
was one of the feedback that we had like some weeks into launching our application. So we had to
Mm-hmm.
rethink our design. Oh, okay, why don't
Mm-hmm.
we just build a plugin, right, that can
Mm-hmm.
connect with the existing processes. So some people are used to using Microsoft. Some people are used already to using things like Microsoft Teams or
Mm-hmm.
using Google Meets or wherever video conference application. So that was the
Mm-hmm.
feedback that we had to work on. But that
Mm-hmm.
definitely involved us having to redesign a lot, like our application as a whole lot. You understand, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. So I would say being inclusive in your feedback is quite important from starts.
Mhm. And you had earlier spoken about the speed that it takes, or rather, the speed that a client needs a service. So now, how do you balance the speed and the solutions to the problem that they are presenting to you?
Okay, so balancing, so you're trying to ask how do we balance like service delivery, like
Mm-hmm.
in terms of speed
Mm-hmm.
with like maybe the different features that are being requested for maybe in a particular solution, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a particular concept I got from working in hospital. So in hospital, there's
Mm-hmm.
something called triaging. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to triage the patient. So if you ever
Mm-hmm.
work in the ER, that's like the emergency room, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have different emergencies that come in at maybe like you can have 10 different emergencies coming at the same time. So
Yeah.
you as a doctor, as a healthcare professional, need to be
Mm-hmm.
able to, in a very quick way, look at all the
Mm-hmm.
patients. So it's called the
Okay.
process is called triaging and say that okay,
Mm-hmm.
out of all these patients, I need to create like a priority list. Who needs to be seen first?
Okay.
Right? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, who needs to be seen first based on maybe they are presenting symptoms or based off maybe the kind of accident they had.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs to be seen first? So you have to like it's called triaging, where you like make like a priority list of patients based on priority, and then you start
Yeah.
attending to them one by one. So
Mm-hmm.
I've also taken that mentality, right, with
Mm-hmm.
working with so when I'm working on a particular product and then the customer is asking for maybe like an array of features now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I look at the criteria: feasibility, speed, and delivery, right? Out
Mm-hmm.
of all these features, what is the quickest that I can ship? First,
Yeah.
even exactly, and even so, I look at the criteria such as which one of them is most feasible at the moment
Mm-hmm.
that will not take up a lot of resources that I know that okay I can do in a few hours or
Mm-hmm.
in a few days that will
Mm-hmm.
require less operational overhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then which one of them is going to require the most operational overhead? Maybe I have to bring in a new team of maybe developers to work on stuff. So I do this and then I plan. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I try hard the request. I plan them. Okay, these are the ones I can work on my own. On
Mm-hmm.
these are the ones that I would need the assistance or support of other people. And then I
Mm-hmm.
communicate immediately. So the clients are okay, based off
Mhm,
of your request, these are the things we have
mhm.
identified. These are the things we can do in the next 24 hours. These are the things we can do
Okay.
in the next 3 days. These are the things we
Mhm,
can do in the next 1 week. These are the things we can do in the
mhm,
next 1 month. Because
mhm.
even because communication is very important, right? Because everybody
Yeah,
needs to have clear expectations. So
yeah.
nobody feels yeah, that you're not delivering service as at when due. So when I
Mhm.
try as like that, I communicate and then I work.
Mhm. And what are the practical steps for profession that a professional can take to input empathy in these tech spaces?
Okay, yeah, practical steps that you can take
Mm-hmm.
to improve empathy in tech space.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly is to, I would say, okay, step one, when you're in the
Mm-hmm.
midst of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Allow other people to speak. Give room for
Okay.
people. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
give room for people.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to people, right? There
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of people that a lot of people, I'm very sure a lot of people that, okay, yeah, you're very smart, you know a lot of things, right? You have worked
Mm-hmm.
on several projects too. You're clearly like maybe like the best person in your room or the
Mm-hmm.
smartest person in your room
Yeah.
based off experience and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
you also need to be able to learn how to take a back seat, right? And say, okay,
Okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to listen to people. So
Mm-hmm.
that helps you a lot because seeing things from different perspectives, it's at the end, it also improves you as a person, right?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing is I would say is learning how to take a back seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. And then even when you take a back seat, you also need to encourage people, right? To
Mm-hmm.
speak, right? In
Yeah.
your team, when you have people, tell them, ask them when you do like maybe you're having a technical session, maybe an architectural
Mm-hmm.
dive in on a particular project, right? You have said a lot of technical things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people might be like, okay, some of the things that you said are over my head. You also tell
Mm-hmm.
people, give them the room, speak, ask them to speak,
Yeah.
contribute. What do you want to say? Are there things that you think we can make better, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think in that situation, the onus falls on you because at
Mm-hmm.
that point you are like a leader or like you're part of the leaders in that scene, right? You need to
Mm-hmm.
be intentional, right, about making people be contributors in your team, right? That's how you also improve them. Because as
Mm-hmm.
you're improving them, you're also improving your team indirectly or directly actually. So
Yeah.
firstly, is learning how to take a back seat. Also, is
Mm-hmm.
learning how to listen to people, right? So you
Yeah.
listen not to criticize, but to learn before you then, say whatever you want to say. Fine, someone
Mm-hmm.
might have said something that maybe is out, maybe okay, it's not adequate or
Mm-hmm.
it's not up to standard of what you're expecting, right? But
Yeah.
instead of, I mean, criticizing is good, right? I always, yes, you need to criticize, right? But
Mm-hmm.
also, even in the way you criticize, you have to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional, right? Criticizing in such a way that the person has action points that they can take back and use to
Yeah.
improve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very specific about, when I pass out criticisms, I'm always very, I would talk about the things that have been done right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the aspects that, yes, that you did right. Then these are the things that you got wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
then you recommend action steps. There needs to be clear actions that you are saying, okay, from what you
Mm-hmm.
have done, these are the next steps that I think you should take, right? To make
Mm-hmm.
this better. Because there's no
Yeah.
point criticizing someone if you're not going to tell them, give them maybe like a next step of actions that they can take to make things better. I feel it's a waste of
Yeah.
everyone's
True.
time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're passing out criticisms, you need to make sure that you are passing out criticism in such a way that people they can learn something or there's an action step that's attached to it, right? It's very
Mm-hmm.
important. So I believe if you can do all those things, you become more empathetic
Yeah.
towards people in your team.
And how will you advise people to maintain that empathetic mindset when they are in environments that are cold or rigid?
Okay, yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part where I would say, yes, you need to understand yeah, so there are some environments as you rightly said that are very rigid, right? They're cold, and then
Mm-hmm.
you need to make sure that you're not conforming, right,
Mm-hmm.
to that environment, that even you have your own values or your value system in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you make sure that, okay, yes, even though this particular environment
Mm-hmm.
it seems to be very rigid, I'm still going to, be empathetic towards people. The
Yeah.
funny thing is you can also influence other people, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People, everybody, I mean, if it's a particular team, maybe you're new to the team and you say, oh, this is a very, very rigid team, right? Everybody, things are done such a
Mm-hmm.
rigid way. I mean, firstly, definitely at some points, maybe at the beginning, you would
Mm-hmm.
have to, at least makes it's kind of like a compromise. Maybe make some slight adjustment on your end, and then also identify
Mm-hmm.
areas that they too can be better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when people observe that your own way of doing things, like your own culture, your own value system, is
Yeah.
better or yields better results than theirs, they will
Mm-hmm.
change, right? They will change. If it's better, they will change, right? If you're able
Mm-hmm.
to show that, yes, from being a more empathetic person, you
Mm-hmm.
can speed up the process of development because people are willing to actively work with
Mhm.
you, or people are willing because people feel that because the ideas are, being considered, they're willing
Mhm.
to become more active in the team.
Yeah.
When it seems like that, when people that have not been exposed to this kind of mindsets
Mhm.
previously, stuff like that, there's a
Mhm.
possibility that they can even change such a way that they become more empathetic. So it's like you are influencing them in some
Mhm.
way. They won't be more
Mhm.
empathetic here. So the thing is,
Mhm.
there's going to be a compromise at the beginning, right? But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's very possible that you're able to spread your values to people around you.
Mhm. And what advice would you give someone who feels like technical skills and soft skills like empathy and listening are mutually exclusive?
No, no, that's a very bad mindset and a bad way to think, right? Your
Mhm.
technical skills are they're a means to an end. They're not the end.
Mhm. Mhm.
At the end of the day, it all falls down to who you are as a person, right?
Mhm.
It all falls down to who you are as a person. Your technical skills, they are great, but they are just a means to an end, right?
Mhm.
And even in your career,
Mhm.
you would see as you progress that your soft skills are very important. Empathy,
Yeah.
communication, very
Mhm.
important. Learning how to
Mhm.
communicate with people. So learning how to communicate with your colleagues, with your
Mhm.
superiors, and with your subordinates. Very, very
Mhm.
important. It's very important.
Mhm.
These are soft skills that you'd probably not learn
Mhm.
maybe by going to school for it, but you need to imbibe anyways. You need to, like, I would say you need to just learn them as you go along the way. But
Mhm.
um these are soft skills that might not necessarily involve you having to read books and stuff like that, unlike your tech
Yeah.
skills where you can just read a textbook, a Python textbook, and understand what Python is about. Soft skills would also
Mhm.
depend on you observing people in your environments and
Mhm.
be willing to learn. You understand?
Mhm.
So they are not mutually exclusive at all. In short, they go hand in hand. You understand?
Mhm.
And you'd see that most of the best founders or builders are people that have great communication skills that are very empathetic, right? You
Yeah.
see, if you communicate with
Mhm.
them, you get to find out that these are people that have this kind of virtues that you need to imbibe.
Mhm. And how have you managed to have such a, what I would say, a perfect balance of the technical side and the human side of in this tech space?
Okay, so I'd like to first correct you. I don't have a perfect balance. I'm a work in
Mhm.
progress also, right? But you can
Mhm.
work towards perfection, and that
Yeah.
involves you. So on your tech side, that
Mhm.
involves you definitely. You need to keep upskilling yourself. You need
Mhm.
to keep being relevant. There's a lot
Yeah.
of new information every day. You need to
Mhm.
be intentional about your education, about learning, right? So this
Mhm.
can be you
Mhm.
setting goals for yourself. Okay, maybe every quarter I take a new
Mhm.
exam to learn something different. I take a
Mhm.
certification. I do something to make sure
Mhm.
that you are improving continuously on your tech skill. And then
Mhm.
in terms of your on your soft skills,
Mhm.
that involves you
Mhm.
basically being intentional, right, about how
Yeah.
you communicate with people. So you have to
Mhm.
be intentional how you
Mhm.
communicate with your superiors, your colleagues, your subordinates, how
Mhm.
you when you're in meetings, right? How you need to
Mhm.
be intentional, how you speak to people, right? Perceiving feedback, very important,
Mhm.
taking feedback, giving out feedback. So, right. So these are things that anytime you are doing it, you need to be very intentional, making sure that you are passing as you're passing out the message, you're passing it with the right
Mhm.
type of emotion, at least in the right way,
Mhm.
such that whoever is listening or whoever you're listening to, or whoever is listening to you basically understands you and
Mhm.
does not feel that, their idea is being thrown to the trash. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's a work in progress and involves
Mhm.
you being intentional and being observant,
Mhm.
being ready to learn, being ready to take a step back and say, okay, let me listen, right? Let me understand
Mhm.
where this person is coming from. And not just
Mhm.
being outrightly dismissive.
Yeah. And throughout your experience, what will you say is the most important lesson that you have learned so far
Okay. So lesson in what sense? I want to because I've learned a lot of lessons.
in matters career,
In what?
career wise?
In the career, okay, career wise. The
Mhm.
most important lesson that I have learned, let me
Mhm.
say, would be um I'm going to say the most important lesson that I've learned would be
Mhm.
that people yeah I would say people or yes or organizations
Mhm.
they value when you can present value to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, organizations appreciate value.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you get that value
Mm-hmm.
now. The value can be in terms of your technical abilities, right?
Yeah.
Being able to definitely you have the skill. You can you need to
Mm-hmm.
work on a project. You can execute a project, right? And the value
Mm-hmm.
can also be in terms of some of these soft skills, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an example now. In the place where I work, there's a
Mm-hmm.
guy who came in into the organization. I mean, he came in
Mm-hmm.
as a solutions architect, but
Yeah.
a particular value that he also had that we did not know he had was a
Mm-hmm.
soft skill which involved basically networking with other organizations. This
Okay.
guy has this skill where he can communicate. So like he basically took it upon himself. He took
Mm-hmm.
upon like our comms. So in terms because as a solutions architect or engineer, so it involves you, reaching out to different organizations, understanding their process,
Mm-hmm.
so and seeing how you can optimize the process and building a new solution and deploying a solution for them, right? So it
Yeah.
involves a lot of communication. And we realized
Mm-hmm.
that this particular dude has
Mm-hmm.
this value such that people are willing to
Mm-hmm.
listen to him. He's not the
Yeah.
most technical person, but he
Mm-hmm.
has this way of communicating things
Yeah.
that even a non-technical person is willing to listen to him and understand him.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Mm-hmm.
so definitely the organization appreciated that and they had to even transition him a bit away from the technical, like don't worry, the other technical guys will attend to that. We need to
Yeah.
be more on the client facing side. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
organizations, yeah, they appreciate value because money flows with value, right?
Yeah.
Money flows to where there's value. And your value
Mm-hmm.
does not have to always be in your technical skills. It can be in some of your soft skills, such as
Mm-hmm.
communication. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because through his communication or his communication skills, we're able to land some new deals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
and then definitely because of those new deals, that was more
Mm-hmm.
revenue for the company. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So yes. So try to I would say the most important lesson event is
Mm-hmm.
um improve how I put like the value that you can offer, improve it,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you are continually improving on your value, like the
Yeah.
type of value that you can offer. And this value, as I said, doesn't even have to be technical. It can be
Yeah.
some soft skills, yes. Then that
Mm-hmm.
that can only happen when you are continuously improving on yourself, whether it be the technical side or the soft skills
Mm-hmm.
aspects. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was our time for the conversation. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you very much, Paul, for granting us with your presence. What would you like to tell the public in general from this
Yeah.
conversation?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Claire and Elizabeth, for having me. So, well, my parting words are,
Mm-hmm.
they said at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
being a builder, right, it still involves people at the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your technical skills are a means to an end,
Yeah.
right? You're solving a problem. They're just a tool for you to solve the problem. They're not the
Mm-hmm.
main thing. The people behind the problem are the main thing, or rather, the people you are trying to solve the problem for are the main
Mm-hmm.
thing. The people that you are building alongside with are
Mm-hmm.
your main yes, are the main thing. So your tech skills, they're a means to
Mm-hmm.
an end, they're not the end. So always make sure that as you're improving on your tech skills,
Mm-hmm.
writing more certifications, being more proficient in tech skills,
Yeah.
also work on your soft skills, right?
Mm-hmm.
Communication,
Mm-hmm.
your value system, being more empathetic, listening to
Mm-hmm.
people, active listening, yes, and be willing
Mm-hmm.
to give people the chance or the freedom to contribute to at whatever you are building. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in case someone comes across this conversation and they would like to talk to you or find you, would they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn is Paul Aderoju, Paul
Mm-hmm.
Aderoju. And then
Mm-hmm.
also I'm on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Paul underscore official, Paul underscore
Mm-hmm.
official. Although the O there is a zero. So you can reach out to
Mm-hmm.
me. I post a lot of articles talking about
Mm-hmm.
artificial intelligence, machine learning, and
Mm-hmm.
also healthcare interoperability because I'm
Mm-hmm.
mostly into health tech. I've been in
Yeah.
that space. So I post about that. So those are the
Mm-hmm.
two, and then those are the two active platforms you can get across to me. I post some blogs, but you can
Mm-hmm.
get the links to my blogs from any of these platforms.
Okay. So
And then you
thank
can
you
also
very.
decide, yeah, you can decide to shoot me an email. My email is paul.adeboye@yahoo.com.
Okay. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. I really enjoyed this conversation. You're such a good conversationalist, and we are looking forward to inviting you time and time again. So thank you very much. And for the viewers and listeners, you can find us on Upepo ecosystem on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify as Upepo Voices, and you can follow LinkedIn on Upepo Ecosystem, Upepo Voices. There is Upepo Soul and also Upepo Book Club. So thank you very much for even coming to listen to this conversation. That was our time. So till next time, goodbye.